Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Tune. I am your host, Josh, and with me is my two co-hosts.
It's your boy, Chase.
And it's your boy, Nick.
And today we have a good show for you people. So we got some movie reviews. Going to discuss Vampires versus the Bronx, which is a Netflix film. Going to discuss Scare Me, which is the Shudder original, which is the horror movie streaming service. They have an original film. Going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the newest episode of The Boys, episode 7. We're going to discuss the Kamala Khan casting news. We're going to discuss Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro in the MCU. And we're going to discuss the Borat 2 trailer.
I go to America!
Our first film up is Vampires versus the Bronx. Now, we all have seen the film. And so it's a story of a group of young friends from the Bronx who fight to save their neighborhood from gentrification, which comes in the form of not only white people, but also in the form of white vampires, too. So, very, very touching on the evil natures of gentrification in basically a nice representative form. In the film, I think, which is directed by Osmani Rodriguez, who's mainly directed episodes of television, directed like episodes of Saturday Night Live, AP Bio. He's got like usually a long history of directing comedy episodes of television, things of that nature. And at the beginning of this movie, you see Zoe Saldana, which I was kind of thrown off. Because I don't think she's immediately listed in the cast. Like I tried to look at, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Zoe Saldana. I'm pretty sure, and I kept kind of looking. I'm like, yeah, and then I finally looked and saw her name in the casting credits as that's Zoe Saldana, and I was kind of wondering what she was doing in the movie, because this is kind of there's really no real recognizable names all that much in this film. So I was kind of like, is she like maybe produce this? Is she like a friend of the producer? I was trying to think of like how, like what got her involvement in this. Because, yeah. No.
Well, she's in there. I'm not gonna say much.
Let's just say she doesn't stick around for long.
Yeah. I would say that this movie has got really good energy about it, especially from the main group of kids. Jaden Michael, who plays the main lead, Miguel Martinez, who they call him Little Mayor. What he's trying to do throughout the film is save this little bodega. Which is owned by Mero, who's part of the duo Desus and Mero. They do a lot of stuff. They do their own show on Showtime called Desus and Mero. A very funny show. I don't know if any of you guys have ever checked that out before.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, they're funny dudes.
Yeah, they're pretty funny dudes. You have Gerald Jones III, who plays Bobby Carter. You have Gregory Diaz the fourth, who plays Louis Acosta. So that rounds out the main group of boys that you mainly follow. You also have, additions to the cast, like Method Man, who plays like a pastor in this. He gets a little bit of screen time. He comes in sparingly throughout the film. You also have Shea Wiggum, who people might remember. He was in Boardwalk Empire as Nucky Thompson's brother, Steve Buscemi's brother in that. He's also pretty good in this. And so it's not really a whole lot of big names in this. Pretty small cast. What I like about it also is they touch on a lot of the things of the real diversity in the neighborhood of the Bronx. And it did a thing with a particular character. There's a character in this that goes around like with her phone on like one of those selfie sticks that basically, she's kind of almost like tells you the events of the film, like the semi-narrator of the film, and she's always like on IG Live. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of kind of like Do the Right Thing, in a sense of how like you would always cut to the scene where Samuel Jackson talks into the when he's talking on the radio, and it would like he would update you kind of on the events going on in the neighborhood, and things like that. So it kind of reminded me of like little things like that throughout it, which was kind of nice. You got a lot of also dark skinned actresses and actors in this, which I do appreciate as well. Which was very, very much appreciated. You really got a lot of that, which was, I think, very good. And the overall charm of the film, comes, I think, mainly from, what you're going to get from the cast and the people involved in it. And, I think that's really where mostly you're going to get it from. Because the vampire stuff, it's not trying to be, some horror vampire epic here. A lot of the stuff they do is a lot of campy, traditional, vampire rules, vampire tropes. So you're not going to get that element from that. It's a way to...
Yeah, nothing in this. This definitely feels closer to like a more campy version of the Lost Boys.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, pretty much is that feel. Also, another feel I kind of got from it was like Attack the Block. Like, it's a very, I think, lesser version of that. If nobody's ever seen it, it's a movie with John Boyega where aliens come invade and they protect their block, which I think that also kind of can draw similarities here, but I don't think it is as good. And I'll go into why. Just to let you guys get some moment, what were your general feelings of it right there?
My general feeling was just basically, it's just a fun movie. It's hard for me to, because I think the movie knows what it is. It's not really. Yes, it does have some metaphors that are kind of pseudo deep, but it's not trying to do more than its initial premise. It sticks to it. The vampires are very obviously a metaphor for gentrification.
Right.
And I think it sticks to it, and it kind of kills that premise, and it knocks out the park with that Sammy Sosa bat. I like the chemistry of the boys. I like the chemistry with the bodega owner. I'm gonna just call him Merrill because I can't remember his name in the movie. I think it was like Tony, right?
Yeah, it was Tony.
Yeah. Okay. But I basically enjoyed the movie for its sense of humor. And it's just nice to see kind of just people of color in a positive light and trying to protect their community. That's all. It's nothing too deep. It's just fun.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, I agree with you, Chase. This is a movie that knows exactly what it is. This is just being a very light, very campy vampires in the hood movie. But this is trying to do a lot of allegory for gentrification and showing the evils of that. However, I don't think any ideas that it doesn't really flesh them out as much as I would have liked in something like this.
Yeah. In the terms of how they take it, the main premise of like these people, these vampires are coming, buying up all these properties and killing the people who own these properties. And it's kind of taking it for what it's like, having these vampires be the ones who are white, who are coming in and buying up all these neighborhoods. It represents like the gentrification is what it is. It's kind of, maybe the director is saying it's just pure evil, right? Like these things of what's happening, it's just pure evil. It's pushing these people out, and there's just no place for it. And also they also establish and say many times throughout the film that the reason why these vampires pick the Bronx is because nobody cares about what happens to people in the Bronx. You know what I mean? Like like it's just an area in this city that nobody cares about. So if somebody goes missing, nobody's really gonna look that hard for him. Which goes into you hear tons of stories about police reportings, missing black children, black girls, black men, all the time. There just isn't that much attention devoted to those cases, maybe in the media the way it is, maybe to someone white going missing, or resources to find those people. So they say that multiple times throughout the film. A little on the nose for my take. They don't really let you see, you don't see anything with the police. Like, there's actually police characters in here that come in for like one scene. Could have did something with them. Could have like let you kind of for them to show how much there's lack of attention in that neighborhood. And to get into some of the negatives here, I think a lot of people in this movie have good energy. Like, the boys have really good energy together. I don't think they're the best actors. No, I don't really think they're all that good. But they work well together. But I think that they're really not the best ones.
Yeah, I think Netflix is gonna have a hard time after the Stranger Things kids get through puberty.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. So I mean, I think they still could have a future. You know what I mean? It could always get better. It's, maybe the first thing they're ever in. I mean, one of these kids could maybe be Miles Morales. I mean, I don't know. I kind of got a lot of that vibes from the Miguel kid. Like,
yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I got a lot of those vibes.
I could kind of see it.
Yeah,
I think Miguel himself was probably the strongest out of the three. I think he has the highest potential.
He was definitely the one that was bringing the most energy.
We'll see.
You didn't have any love for Puerto Rican Harry Potter?
I thought a couple of his scenes were funny. I think in the context of this film, he works. I don't know if I'd say he's like a great actor.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Everything works, but none of them are really great actors.
Another thing is a lot of the storylines that the kids have. For instance, like there's the one kid, Bobby, who he's got a single mother. All of them actually have single mothers, actually, except the Puerto Rican Harry Potter kid. He's got a grandmother, right? That was his grandmother. That was.
It's his abuela.
Okay, that was his grandmother. Yeah, so except he's got a grandmother who's taking care of him. They all got in kind of single family households. And Bobby Carter, he's being drawn in by the life of the streets, you know what I mean? Like these gang member characters are trying to get him in. I thought that was really cliche. I thought that didn't really work out so well. His mother, she's trying to take money from the people that are buying up all this property because she wants to get away. She wants to get out of the life that, she doesn't want him to end up like the father dead, So I thought that was really kind of, I thought that was clumsy. I thought that was lazy. I thought that was a little cliche and not done in a way that felt all that natural or organic. What did you guys think about that at all?
I feel like this movie, it's worth, the writing process where you have a whole bunch of ideas, and as you do your edits and you knock out drafts, you slowly start to take away little bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
This feels like it's just shooting off of the first draft. So everything that's going on, there's not enough time to develop any of it. So like you were saying with the cops, there's nothing with them. With the gang storyline, that kind of doesn't really have any development. It just kind of happens and it ends.
Yeah, everything kind of falls short. I think this really could have been like, kind of maybe if you leaned in more to the campy element of it, maybe that would have worked out a little bit better. If you kind of leaned into that element, that would have maybe worked out for you.
I feel like if with something like this, you have to go either really campy or really scary. You can't just be in the middle, because if you try to do everything, you're just going to fail at everything.
Yeah, it just kind of floats in the middle. No real distinctive kind of, I don't think, tone or style that really stands out that much that really you would be all that intrigued or excited to see. I'm gonna get into my closing thoughts of this film. I think it's perfectly just okay. I mean, it's something that maybe you would have a good time. Just it's perfect to just sit at home. It's on a streaming service. It's on Netflix. sit at home and just maybe watch and check out. It's only an hour and 26 minutes, so this is incredibly short. It's only an hour and 26 minutes. And maybe you can get a little decent enjoyment out of it. Some of the vampire effects, I will say, actually looks kind of good. I actually like the way the vampires, they have them portrayed and have them look in this. It reminded me a lot of what Joss Whedon used to do with his vampires, like in Angel and Buffy. Like the way they would like change their face like that, like they would morph their faces. That reminded me a lot of that, which I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty nice. The name of the moving company that comes and like starts buying up all this property is like a reference to the director of Nosferatu, F.W. Norton. It's like a reference to the director of that film, that was probably a nice homage to that. So, overall, I think you have, a cast that does have good energy, does have good chemistry, but overall, I think it's not really all that good. You got a nice campy kind of title and feel to the movie. Don't think they really executed all that well. And I would say it is maybe a strong 5 to a light 6. Chase, what did you get?
Yeah, it's not the strongest movie by any means. Some of their subplots kind of get resolved relatively poorly. Kind of with the whole Gain situation, I felt like that was kind of a little bit too conveniently resolved. Yeah, it's just a very okay, fun movie. I'd put it on while I'm doing something else. It's one of those movies. You see it, you catch it on TV at the right time while you're like playing video games or cleaning around the house. It's one of those movies. You might get a couple chuckles here and there, but it's nothing too deep. It's nothing too profound. It's just a light 5.
Light 5. Nick, what you get?
I think the cast of this movie, they all have really great chemistry. It's a very fun, very light movie to watch. But this doesn't really commit to any of its story beats. This is not scary enough to be a horror movie, and it's also not funny enough to be a comedy. I'm struggling to think of a time I laughed during this movie. It was really dry for me.
Not even with any of Mero's scenes when he was just chilling with the boys.
Not really. Not really. Just I never.
Bro, you're just straight facing this whole movie.
a little bit. It's but this is light. It's fun. It's fine. There's nothing in this that made me angry, unlike certain movies directed by Charlie Kaufman. But this is just very mediocre. It's a quick watch, thankfully. It's only an hour 20. So if you put it on and you end up watching it, you won't be mad. This is definitely 4 out of 10 for me.
Wow, I thought you were gonna give it a 3 or something the way you were talking.
Yeah, this is 4. This didn't make me mad like I'm thinking of ending things.
The one big producer on this is the one big producer on this is Lorne Michaels, who does SNL. So which could explain why
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. This feels like one of the lesser SNL movies.
Wayne's World is pretty good.
Is it?
Wayne's World is pretty good too. I got
Blues Brothers is better.
You said, is it? Oh, I mean,
it's a hood classic.
Wayne's World. I really like MacGruber. I like MacGruber. I like that. I think it's funny.
I don't mind MacGruber.
I guess you guys didn't. I like.
I don't remember liking that.
I
don't remember liking that movie very much.
Hey, it's Christopher Nolan, one of his favorite movies. He loves them.
Wait, really?
It was in an interview, like Anne Hathaway, I think, was giving an interview, and she was, I think it was maybe Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, or Jimmy who the fuck ever guy that's doing late night or whatever. And she was saying, like, he was watching MacGruber all the time on set when they were doing the movie. He was watching, laughing his ass off. That's what she said.
Oh, that is something. I guess you never know.
Oh, did you see Tenet or
that?
something? Sorry.
Yeah, I finally saw it. I couldn't hear a fucking thing during it because the sound mixing was so bad.
Oh, okay. I gotta get your thought.
That's pretty atypical of Chris Nolan, because usually you can hear too much.
Yeah, I could barely hear shit during the whole movie. No, all of the background noise, all of the sound effects, I could hear that. I couldn't hear a word of the fucking dialogue that was going on during the entire movie. I feel like Nolan needs a new sound editor.
So he's really fallen in love with ambience a little bit too hard.
I think so.
I don't know. I still have yet to see the film, but okay. So
I got a good segue for the next topic. To move on to a movie that does have good sound design.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Josh. That was your cue.
Dude,
I thought
come
you were
on.
gonna finish it. Oh shit.
He teed you up,
Oh
man.
shit. I know you were throwing me the alley oop. Oh shit. Okay. So.
Call me Chris Paul.
Oh, okay. All right. So to discuss a movie with great sound, I'm going to discuss Scare Me, which is a film directed by Josh Rubin, who also writes the film and stars in the film. It also stars alongside Aya Cash. And,
My girl.
Yeah, Chase's girl. You also in the film have Chris Reed, who is also in Vampires versus the Bronx. He's also had a small part in that movie as well, and has a small part in this film as well. And the story tells a writer who goes to a cabin to try to get his thoughts together. And while he's there at this cabin, he meets a fellow writer, played by Anya Cash, Fanny. And she's a hugely successful writer. Wrote a book called Venus, which is, some people in the film, they said, consider the greatest horror book ever written. And in the course of meeting each other during a power outage, and hanging out during a power outage, they decide to tell each other scary stories. And throughout the film, they do basically just that. They basically act out all the various scary stories that they tell each other. I will say that the movie is very creative in the way it uses its limited space, limited budget. I can only imagine what the budget of this film is, but it does make very, very good use of that. It being, because it's mainly set all in this cabin. And it's very good back and forth between him and Aya Cash. And when they do the scenes of them kind of acting out these stories, and when I say that, I mean, like, for instance, when they're telling each other the stories, when he brings up, like, a police car, he says, like, oh, and this happens, and this happens, and the police car comes, you actually hear sirens of a police car. You actually hear him get on the radio like he's actually like a police officer getting on his police radio. When he's telling the story of like about werewolves, it'll actually show like a werewolf hand as he's like climbing up the steps, and you'll hear all these various noises that they do that perfectly back up their story, that perfectly kind of helps them all act and basically fulfill it to its basically natural desire. And I thought that was really good. I thought that was really well done. And I thought that was very, creative in the way they used that. In between telling the scary stories, there is, like these more personal moments, more character depth there, where they kind of more get to know each other, which is very good. I think they do a very good job at that. It's just that, also this film is, about an hour and 50 minutes. And it's a lot of them telling those stories throughout the whole film. And I was just like, wow, so y'all really just gonna do this throughout the whole thing? Okay. And I was, after the first, 20, 30 minutes of it, I was kind of like, okay, are you going to do anything else? Which leads me into one of my criticisms. It's just that I think it would have maybe worked better maybe if it was like a 30-minute, 20-minute short maybe, that you would maybe see and you go like, oh, that's really cool, that's really nice. It being in a whole film, I'm just not too sure about. I think that the concept kind of grows tiresome. There is some things that kind of get broken up when the Chris Reed character comes in, and they kind of, bounce off of him, and he, is more of an upbeat energy, and they kind of bounce off of him. But I still think it didn't really need to be maybe that long. I think maybe like, because like how Vampire vs. the Bronx was only an hour and 26 minutes, I think maybe it should have been closer to something like that, hour and 30, maybe hour and 40, not, a whole hour and 50 minutes. What did you guys think about the film?
My initial impression going into it was that it was going to be actually one of the quotes from Aya Cash's character. This isn't a story, this is just an idea. But it does become a story sooner or later. It does take kind of long to get there, but I think I agree with you, Josh. It is too long, but I think that the characters are enjoyable enough that if this were to say be a hour and 30 minutes, it would probably be much better off for it. But in terms of like what they do and what they say, I feel like the acting is phenomenal. Aya Cash is beautiful as ever, amazing. What's his name?
Josh Rubin. Josh Rubin. He's the writer,
Josh
director
Rubin
of this.
Yeah, he does a phenomenal job as well, in my opinion. And I think he did a great job constructing some of the stories because I felt like the stories reflected the writers as well. And to get on to that point, I think this does reflect him to some degree. There are moments where the story can be a tad bit self-indulgent, but I think it is self-aware enough to make fun of those moments. Especially towards the beginning, where I feel like if you've written anything or you had any aspirations to be in film or entertainment in general, you've had that one cab ride where the cab driver or the Uber, the Lyft, they're asking you, hey, what do you do? And you're like, I'm an aspiring writer, I'm an aspiring actor. And then they're like, oh, word? Have you been in anything I've seen, or have you been in anything I've read, or written anything I've read? I mean,
I used to drive for Uber, and I cannot tell you how many rides I've had like that.
Oh goodness. Were you the driver asking, or were you just being asked by your
both?
Your passengers.
Let's say both.
Oh, okay. Because, I'm a writer myself, so I have gotten into that, and I have slipped up and said, yeah, I do write stuff. And then you get the obvious, like the driver's trying to pitch you the story, and you're like, listen, the story sucks, and if I did have the money, it still would suck. But I think it does a great job making fun of that. And also personally as a writer too, I felt like Aya Cash's character kind of hitting me with some truth here and there too, in the sense that from the main character, he's a failure. He doesn't really actually try to do what he's doing, or what he says he's doing. You'll see throughout the course of the story that he might be lying quite a bit, especially in that earlier conversation with the cab driver. And I thought it was interesting storytelling. I think that through the course of the story that you do get a fully developed character out of him, and I think you get a fully developed character out of Fanny as well.
Nick.
So, yeah.
All right, this movie is not at all what I expected. Like, I did not see a single trailer for this movie. All I knew about it was from you guys suggested this to me, and it came on my radar. And all the IMDb says is two neighbors stuck in a cabin tell each other scary stories, and the stories come to life. And I was expecting this like huge, grandiose, like horror anthology, but I was kind of really refreshed by the bare bones approach to this, and just staying in the cabin and letting Josh Rubin and Aya Cash's performances speak for it. And the sound design in this movie is incredible. It's like the stuff from their stories, it's coming to life in your ears. And this is a very creatively done movie, and I had to do some thinking about this, and this isn't really a horror movie as much as it is a character study of a guy who is the fragile white male who's confronted by a woman who is so much better at what she does than he is.
Yeah. It's like embarrassing at certain scenes.
There were moments that were genuinely uncomfortable, and you could see in Josh Rubin's performance that he is seconds away from snapping. And when I first saw it, I thought the turn towards the end kind of came out of nowhere, but thinking back on it, I do see how they like slowly built up to that.
Yeah, I think there's a nice build up. I just think it takes way too long to get there, and just kind of, it's hard to make it through for me there. Not to say the movie was difficult to watch, but I just think like, okay, I don't think you need all this.
I do agree with you that it should have been shorter, but I'm also trying to think of what would have been cut out, because the first thing that comes to mind is the stories that Josh Rubin's character tells, because they're so much lesser than the ones Aya Cash is telling. And I think you could cut those out, but those are also intentionally bad for the script.
I didn't think there had to be so many of them as they do in it. I think maybe you could have cut a couple out. I don't think there'd be so many of them. And like you said, I like your analysis of the take of it, of like, hey, here's this guy who is being really shown up by Aya Cash's character, and they try to portray her also. They maybe somebody who's in her 20s, even though Aya Cash is like 38 years old. Like somebody maybe in their mid 25.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, she looks really good. And I say, so there's a lot of times where he says like, well, I mean, look at you. I mean, you're younger, and you're already really super accomplished and doing these things, and I'm 38, and look what I've done, and like really trying to compare himself. And then when the pizza delivery character comes in, it's played by Chris Reed, the SNL actor. He comes in, he's just like fawning all over her. That doesn't help. That just pisses him off even more. He's just like, motherfucker. Like that doesn't help. Tensions and things like that. And you do see like those tense moments in between when they're telling the stories between the two characters, and how much resentment he has, envy he has, which is very nice to see. And Josh Rubin does a very good job of portraying that. Aya Cash does a very good job of portraying that. They both do wonderful jobs in the film, and very, very good. And Aya Cash, she's great at playing very kind of stone cold bitchy characters. She's great at that. I mean, she's definitely very great at that.
Yep, she's very stone cold. She's very like snarky, but it also feels earned with her character. It's because she's a best-selling author, and she's kind of slumming it with this dude. So yeah, of course she'd have a little bit of an ego. Yeah,
and being that best-selling author as well, she's probably come across a lot of crazy fans. So, Of course, when they first initially meet, she's gonna be a bitch about it, because she's just like, oh no, not another one. I hope he doesn't recognize me. I'm just trying to go for a walk.
I don't know. Did you all ever see You're the Worst? Did you all ever see
I just started watching it.
I still have not watched a single episode of it.
Yeah, because a lot of characters she plays, I hope she doesn't really get typecasted. Because a lot of characters she plays is very similar to that character she does play in You're the Worst, which is where I first seen her from. And it's a very dark show. It's a lot of dark humor in it, and she kind of plays that same kind of snarky, very cold kind of character at times. And the show does explain particularly why she is that way in the show. But it reminds me a lot of like Kristen Witter, who she was like Jessica Jones. For like a long time, that'd be the thing she would do in movies and TV shows, but she'd be like the best friend of the main character, and she would be the snarky best friend, the sarcastic, the sardonic best friend. That's kind of like a lot of what she did in her career. Kristen Ritter did, which worked out very. Yeah.
In my opinion, I think Aya Cash's delivery is charming, which is kind of what saves her. Even if she is to be typecasted, I feel like seeing her as Gretchen, seeing her in this, seeing her as Stormfront, there's still just enough nuances that she adds to each individual character to make them kind of stand out. We'll get more into Stormfront later, but there's a vast difference, in my opinion, between her asshole writer persona character and Stormfront. And you could definitely argue more so that she is kind of leaning on her Gretchen side of it, because she is kind of just that snarky, thinks she's better than everybody else kind of personality in this. But
right. Through context of this movie, she's also has proof that I am in fact better than this.
Yeah. Like you compare her to the main character, and it's like night and day.
And her character actually is dishing out truths. It's like sometimes you just gotta do the work instead of bitching about why. Oh, woe is me. Why can't I have the thing she has?
Yeah, I felt attacked. I felt attacked.
So, what's your rating for it?
I'd give it a 7.
7?
And I'm giving it a 7 because I do think it is a little bit too long. And if it was maybe cut like maybe a story or two. No, I'd just say one story. If it just cut one story, it could probably have been an 8 or a 9. But I had a lot of fun with it. Both Ruben and Aya Cash deliver amazing performances. Even though the pizza guy is the most unrealistic black man I've ever seen on screen, he is phenomenal. Everybody knows that a black man delivering pizza in the middle of the woods is just not realistic, and it's even less realistic for him to be curious enough to stay in the creepy cabin with white people. But he was a great addition. He added the spice that he needed to add, because around that time before he showed up, I was kind of getting a little dreary of it. So him adding that extra flair to it, adding that other level of envy for the main character to start to feel towards Fanny, I thought that was perfect. Let me stop before I start spoiling shit. 7. Solid
7.
movie. Give it a chance. Definitely take the description of the movie verbatim. It is just people telling scary stories. So have fun with that.
Nick, rating?
All right. This is a movie that it's taking what I think is a very tired concept, and that is the horror anthology. It's like you bring in a bunch of different horror directors and you let them do a bunch of shorts of varying degrees. The biggest example I can think of is the first VHS, where you had Radio Silence short with the guys going into the actual haunted house, and that was amazing. And then you had the rest of the movie. So I like that this movie I like that Scare Me is taking a more bare bones approach to this. And you're letting your actors show off what they can do. And it is very fun at times. It's poking fun at a lot of overused horror tropes. And even the best-selling writer character, she's using those tropes too, but it's not so much dig on that. It's a comment on, hey, it doesn't matter if you're using cliches, it's how you use them. The performances and chemistry with Josh Rubin and Aya Cash, it's amazing. The sound design in this movie is incredible, and I do really like the slow tension build between Fred and Fanny as characters. It really had me feeling really uneasy whenever they were in a room alone together. And this is and I was looking up. This is Josh Rubin's first full-length feature. It's taken a horror anthology and making it feel very fresh. But I do agree with you guys that it could have been it could have been maybe cut short by one of the stories or something or like that or other. But this is a very solid movie. It's a lot of fun. If you do get the chance to watch this, try to go in as cold as you can, because I knew nothing about this prior and I had a lot of fun with it. So this is definitely a 7 out of 10 movie.
7 out of 10. All right. I think that this film, like I said, I really like the performances, love the tension between the two characters as it builds throughout the film. Could have been shorter. I think that would have benefited the movie. I think this is a great movie. Like if they did a play of this, or if you did this like for acting students, like say like, hey, act out these scenes. I think it'd be great for something like that. Really, really test your abilities to kind of do that type of storytelling. Like if you're really, an actor, I think this would be very, very beneficial for you. I think that the way they tell the stories, like I said, the sound editing is very good, and the way they kind of use that creativity, the lighting, the way they use the sound, the way they use the performances from the actors themselves, what they're doing, because they even do different voices. They're really going all out with this.
I never knew I needed to see Aya Cash play a Slovakian grandpa ever.
Yeah.
That accent was perfect.
I know.
They really go all out. Go ahead, Chase.
No. I don't even want to risk spoiling this movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I thought all of that was very well done and very nice. I like to see that creativity. And this, like I said, is a Shudder original for their streaming service.
Support my girl.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to get another whole other streaming service on top of probably all of the 3 or 4 you already have, but I still think it's
just do what I did.
Allegedly,
get that 3-week trial, cancel a day of. Hey, no. I supported this movie legally. We don't fuck around when it comes to one of my wives.
I thought you were gonna say like accidentally watched the wrong movie thinking it was the right one.
Well, I got that for a reason, because I was sinning by not supporting my girl. So if you do try to watch this illegally, allegedly, you might run into some movies that are not it. Let's just say that.
But overall, I give it a strong 7. I agree with you all. It is very much a strong 7. All right, so moving on from discussing Scare Me, going to discuss the newest episode of The Boys, episode 7, Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker. And in this episode, We see Homelander and Stormfront continuing their Nazi romance, rattling up their base, hitting on more and more of real world issues, of fear mongering against this outside threat, rallying their base. You also see with the boys, them trying to follow up from last episode. Lamplighter they're trying to use him as an informant. They have now gotten somebody from Congress involved. Victoria Newman, who people said is the AOC, I guess, sub-in character, I guess.
She is.
She very much is.
I mean, yeah, I guess basically, yeah, she's the AOC, basically a stand-in, which is nice. And in the big thing with the rally, they announced that Starlight actually is a mole, and they have like put her in confinement in like this little cell that basically restricts her abilities. So they're holding her, basically scapegoating her, saying that she's the one that is this mole that's bringing all this bad stuff up about the VOD, about the superheroes. And throughout the film, throughout the show, I would say I didn't really see where it was going all that much, which is what I like about it. That's why I really like watching it. Didn't really see where they were all going to go with it, and the way it's able to really use that humor and that social commentary in it is pretty good. Did you all think at some point throughout this episode it was maybe a little too on the nose, the social commentary they were doing, or do you think it was still a good amount?
I never feel like with social commentary on this show, I never feel like it's really too on the nose. Or if it is, it's done intentionally, because the show is inherently ridiculous. This is a bunch of like superheroes in the real world, and all of the real world implications of something like that happening. But yeah, this had one of my favorite openings of this entire season. It's just a guy who, let's say, would support a certain orange individual, just listening and getting more and more inflamed by Stormfront's rhetoric, and then eventually taking it to its logical conclusion.
Right.
Do you guys know who Boogie is?
Boogie?
The YouTuber?
I do not know.
No.
The dude just looked just like him.
Oh,
that's all I'm gonna say.
You're talking about that incident of him, like a fan coming to his house or something like that? That guy?
Yeah, no, that's what I thought was really ironic, because the dude looks just like Boogie, and Boogie got in trouble, on internet in trouble, for pointing a gun at a stalker. So I was just like, yo, wait, Boogie's really wilding in this episode.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know who he was. I just been seeing it on like the internet and stuff like that, like talking about. I have no idea who that is.
I just thought this show just is so good with its timing. I don't know if it's like, well, obviously some of it is coincidental, but like, this show couldn't have come out at a better time. And in my opinion, the commentary, the social commentary of it, just on the nose enough for it to not be annoying, but for us to be like, all right, yo, this is real. Like, and at times also laugh at it. The opening sequence was not something I laughed at. It was, and that was perfectly done in my opinion. It was meant to be a realistic approach as to, okay, this is how somebody becomes a QAnon person. This is how somebody becomes, say, a Proud Boy, or or part of the Stormfront website, which might be where she got her name from. I don't think it's too on the nose. I think it's just right, because they say just enough. Like at the rallies, I can understand some people not really rubbing the wrong way, but the rallies are exactly how that wing of rallies goes. It just
Life is a parody at this point. And life is a fucking parody at this point. So
Yeah,
it's
Yeah, when
life-
when South Park can't even come close to how insane life is now.
yeah.
When life
it's
has
different.
officially out crazied South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like life imitates art, which imitates life.
Yeah. I mean, the beginning of the episode, showing this character as you see.
Oh,
throughout
speaking of,
the course.
I finally remember where I've seen that actor from. Any of you guys watch Community?
Oh yeah.
It's Fat Neil.
Okay. Oh, Fat Neil. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's Fat Neil, who was definitely probably a bad day away from from doing this on that show.
Oh, okay.
Deadass. The universes might actually be connected. Did they ever say his character's name?
No, they don't.
It could have been Neil.
Come on, he would have killed Chevy
It could've
Chase
been Neil.
instead of.
Yeah. You got a point.
But I mean, it shows at the beginning of the episode having this character who, over the course of maybe weeks, months, as we see, just constantly watches Stormfront, at press conferences and rallies, listening to, podcasts and interviews. Got posters of her, got Funko Pops of her, looking her up on the internet, like just constantly inundated with all this stuff and hearing about this huge threat that's coming, is, very reminiscent of things that we've seen, like mass shooters, like going on 8chan and like taking in all this information, listening to YouTubers like, Laura Sutherland or Stephen Molyneux or people like that, these, white nationalists, white supremacist people, hearing of the Great Replacement and this is just such a threat and everything like that, and constantly hearing these things and these images and feeling like you're under attack and seeing things when they aren't there, and how much that can really influence people. And so I thought that was really nice. Like you've seen at the beginning of the episode, which was a really good opening.
And I just want to say real quick, I think the brilliance of Stormfront's character and casting Aya Cash as well is just, she exists. Like, her personality, it exists. She's out there, But the brilliance of the first 3 episodes with just introducing the points of views that are the opinions that she has that we agree with initially, like her feminist views and making fun of the movie producer, making fun of Vought and all that stuff. Perfect. And I think that's perfect because we get to see how complex she is. She's not just a one-note Nazi. She's not coming out the gate swinging with evil.
Yes, and it
charms you with her.
Yes, it's very rare that people will show their worst side like that, and it's kind of indicative of the state of racism in this country. It's like we're a little more savvy to it, so we have to present it in like this prettier, easier to swallow package.
And she's very pretty. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, so like you said, the show, like I said, presents these things in those packages, and how it kind of like, people have talked about how kind of the side kind of sucks you in because this kind of anti SJW reactionary kind of community. At first, you see it's like, we talk shit about all these people and the corporate woke stuff and people being, these feminists, talking about all this other stuff, being mad at men and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of sucks you in through that. And then it kind of then starts trickling in like, oh yeah, the brain shape, the brain size of black people's brains is much smaller than white people's brains. It starts like, leading you in through that stuff, and then kind of inundating you with all that other ideology that is like, oh, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I thought we were just laughing at, some cringe and all this other stuff, but the way it kind of just sucks you in there, and it, kind of converts you there, because now you maybe warmed up to the person, you like the person, and, now you're just ready to accept any information they tell you. So I think, the show does a very good job at showing things like that. You also see in this episode a lot more personal stuff with Butcher, where he meets his father, and you see that he's a very contentious relationship with his father. His father's played by John Noble, who I like. I liked him on Fringe, which was really good. I love that show, which was really nice. And his father's a bastard. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Just a completely bad person, and basically made Butcher who Butcher is. And you see that, and they touched on this a little bit in the last episode, where Starlight was talking to him, of how she compared him to Homelander, and how him and Homelander have so much kind of similarities in that way of upbringing, and of just kind of being angry at the world, for that, and how they kind of have those kind of little similarities, and they don't even really kind of realize that they're two sides of the same coin. Yeah. Which was very nice to see. And
it's ironic too, don't you think? Because, throughout the whole course of the show, they always tout like, oh, if Homelander just had a real father and mother, he may have turned out differently. But with Butcher, we kind of see somebody who, if he had a bad father, he would still probably be the same,
Yeah, and it's showing a little bit of that moral gray. It's like, yeah, Homelander very much could have had a loving mother and father, but then again, so do a lot of mass shooters. You look into their lives, and a lot of them have like really loving, good family lives. So it's rarely that simple. And
yeah, I'm sure Neil was. I'm sure Neil was part of the debate team.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a little more complicated than that. And whenever we get to it, I'd like to talk about Homelander's justification with Ryan, his son.
Yeah. And just to move on to some more things in the episode, we're going to talk about how Huey gets in charge of watching Lamplighter. He's a star witness that's going to testify against Vought. And he sees that on the TV during these rallies that they have Starlight captured, and that she's being outed as being this traitor and everything like that. So he basically goes with him to go break her out of the place, which I thought, it was maybe really rash, really stupid. Especially when they said like, okay, this guy, how valuable this guy is.
But it's also pretty in character for Huey.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it is. It is.
Especially because prior to that, what were they watching, Josh?
A lot of superhero porn. A lot of porn parodies of all the.
Can you go into length? I don't know if I watched that section. Can you describe it?
Yeah,
describe it more?
Such great titles such as Homelander, Red, White, and Anal. Starlight runs an A train. Big Black Noir.
That was the funniest one. Big Black
so I
Noir.
mean, I think I would go on a rescue mission too if I was forced to sit there and watch porn with another man. I'd be like, we gotta do something else. We gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, even if I get killed,
eventually, going on a suicide mission becomes the saner choice.
Yeah, especially if he's about to put on the parody of your own girlfriend. Getting plowed through by somebody who literally plowed through your ex.
Yeah. So I would definitely need to get out of there. And as they go there, access the building, Lamplighter kills himself, just sets himself on fire. And you see, and you see how much of a kind of a tragic character he was. This guy who, you know, maybe did want to do good in his life, you know, but just
you get the sense that he had an outlook on superhero life very much like Starlight did in the very first season, how she was like very bright-eyed, very naive, very optimistic, and then slowly being in the 7, and that just kind of got worn away and broken down until he eventually just got cast out and then relegated to just cleaning up Fox's dirty work.
Yeah.
Did they ever say how long he was in the 7?
No, I don't think so.
I think it can be assumed that he was like one of the original members.
Okay.
Really?
Because I remember in the comics he was a little bit older than most of the 7, right?
I don't know.
I've
only read the first volume of the comics.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so you know, he sets himself on fire. And then when he does that, it sets off the alarms, and then Starlight can use the electricity from the alarms to basically bust herself out of prison, out of the cage, and try to escape. And then, she's trying to escape, which is a nice, good scene with Black Noir, you know, who comes in as this threat, and he's handling her really. I mean, she's got like no shot. I mean, you know what I mean? He's just
they show off Black Noir as essentially the 7's version of the Hulk. He is the guy you send in when you need shit done.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
he's the Hulk and Batman. He has everybody's weaknesses on check, you know? But he has the strength of the
biggest kryptonite of all, which
that
caught
too.
me so off guard.
The most
I was so
dangerous man
confused.
has a tree nut allergy. You know, all he has to do is just eat an almond joy and he's gone. It's like, wow. You know what I mean?
At first when I saw that, I was just like, wait, what is Maeve putting in his mouth? Is it like something to like muzzle him or something? Like, what's going on? And then I saw the wrapper. And I was just like, yo,
the show is so great at bringing in moments of levity.
Yeah. But you guys have any theories? Like, do you think he's alive? I hope he's alive.
I hope.
Yeah, he's alive.
I think so. I don't think, because Black Noir, he's a character that is great for bringing a lot of physical comedy. And I don't think it's be smart to kill him off this early into the show's run.
Yeah. And so I think this episode also, that whole scene proved, to me at least, that they are definitely not going with the comic route.
They are not. No. Thank God, because I'll be the first to say it. The Boys is Garth Ennis's worst book.
Really?
I think so. The first volume I read, it was okay, but then looking on Wikipedia and reading what happens in the rest of the series, it's just this is just Garth.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's just Garth Ennis being wannabe Frank Miller a little bit.
Okay. So you wouldn't recommend reading the comic?
I would not, no.
Oh, okay.
I'd say it's something to read. It's a lot. I'd recommend it only because I feel like it kind of gives you greater appreciation for the show, and then it also
because the show is so much better than the book.
But you could also get some background for what's potentially to come. I feel like.
The suit characters have actual depth and are actually characters in the show, unlike the book, where they are just literally caricatures of evil caricatures of the Justice League.
Homelander did nothing wrong in the comics. I'm just gonna say that. I can't say that for the show, but I could definitely say that for the comics.
Okay. So, I thought that was a really nice scene between Starlight, between Black Noir, and the save by Queen Maeve before Black Noir kills her. is nice. And in this episode, Queen Maeve also has a good amount to do. She breaks up with her girlfriend Elena, and that was a really nice moment. I thought that was very well done.
Did you guys jump out of your seats when she flipped the table?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But to see where her character goes now, to see. So do you think that now, since she's not with Elena anymore, she's gonna use that information just to take down the Seven or take down Vought, or where do you think that they're all taking that?
I think before the very end of this episode, that was her plan. Now, I don't know, man. I don't know where you go with this.
There has to be some kind of resolution for that, though. This next episode.
Yeah. And what, it has to be some resolution with her trying to kill Black Noir. I mean, it's got to be also something with that, also.
Yeah, and that's why I asked, do you guys think he's alive? Because I feel like Maeve isn't the type of person to just leave a job undone or unfinished. So, and with Black Noir, because I don't think with a tree nut allergy you have any amnesia.
Right.
I feel like he'll definitely remember who gave him the almond joy.
Yes, I'd be interested to see where they take that in the final episode. I'm sad there's only one more episode left.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, sad about that. And there's a really good scene. So they're trying to go to the head of Vought, the former head of Vought. What was that character's name again?
Dr. Vogelbaum is the guy's name.
Dr. Vogelbaum, and at first he's seen by Mother's Milk and Mallory, who try to convince him to testify, and then he's seen again by Butcher, who is a little bit more convincing.
There is a great Punisher movie starring Carl Urban somewhere.
Yeah,
that was definitely the most comic book Butcher has ever been. Show.
That's definitely the scariest Butcher has been in this entire run of the show, because he is threatening this guy's family, and you believe it. He is selling the shit out of it. And Carl Urban, a terrific actor who I think does not get enough love or get enough work.
Yeah. I mean, this show is great for him. He's had a good geek icon career. He was Bones in Star Trek. He was Dredd. He's had a really good geek icon type of career. He really has. Definitely stuff that would make him a staple at conventions for decades and decades and decades.
Exactly. He could just live the rest of his life doing odd signings at conventions, and he'd be fine.
Yeah, but I think this show gives him time to really act.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, especially this episode.
This episode is his best performance, especially the scenes with him and his father, John Noble. I feel like they have a really good back and forth. Well, I wouldn't say good, but it just goes to show that sometimes even if you have a family, they can still fuck you up.
And Nick, I did have a question though. As someone who has read one of the comics, didn't John look exactly like Butcher in the comics?
John Noble,
but, just obviously older. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And even last episode in the flashback, Butcher finally looks like comic book Butcher, with the all black with the slick back hair.
Yeah. But he still has the beard. But I was just are they gonna keep doing this with the dads, where the dads are the ones that look exactly like their comic book counterparts? Because they did that with Huey's dad as well.
Well, because by the time this show came around, Simon Pegg was too old to be Huey.
Oh yeah. I also think Jack Quaid couldn't have been, in my opinion.
Exactly. He's kind of come into his own in this role, and I think he's great in this show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
Julian's pretty good. Yeah.
I think he's much also realistically a better looking guy to pair with Starlight.
You definitely. He's like, yeah, Jack Quaid's a handsome dude. He could pull Aaron Moriarty.
Yeah. Simon Pegg, I don't know.
Even.
I mean, he's kind of got that nerdy kind of thing going on. Simon Pegg, it's pretty nice, pretty funny guy. I mean, he did pull Thandie Newton in a movie, so like he was with her.
You got a point.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
but I mean, like to Nick's point, I mean, I think this is maybe Carl Urban's best performance as Butcher.
And I like each episode we're getting more development from the boys themselves. It's like a couple episodes ago that was really Laz Alonso showcase as Mother's Milk. Last episode it was Tomer Capone's Frenchie who got a lot to do, and we're getting Butcher and Huey that are really the stars of this episode, along with the MVP of this entire show.
Yeah, I think I've been seeing some weird criticisms of this season saying that it's not as eventful as last season, but I think that this was needed to flesh out the boys a little bit more.
Yeah, sometimes you need to slow down so you can get more development from the title characters of this show.
Yeah. And I think with Stormfront being added into the mix and pairing her up with Homelander, I think all of this is, I don't want to say season 2 is set up for an amazing season 3, but I feel like laid the groundworks. I feel like it laid the groundworks while also telling its own little story, Yeah.
And I just want to talk about one of the biggest things that happened in this episode was Homelander taking Stormfront to see his kid, Ryan, and just always the tension that's there between what is that actress's name? The character's name?
Chantel Van Santen, who played Patty Spivot in season 2 of The Flash. The girl that was so much hotter than Iris.
That's who she is. Okay.
Yeah, the girl
that's why she looked familiar.
Yeah, the girl that Barry Allen should have ended up with in the show.
Yeah.
She really fell on hard times.
Yeah, she's not better looking than Iris West. Let's calm that down.
Better chemistry.
They had maybe better chemistry. Yeah, they had better chemistry. Yeah.
They're both hot. Barry would have won regardless.
Yeah, the real winner was Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Becca, that's her name, Becca.
Yeah.
And the tension that's always there, and Stormfront just comes in there and really just always just kind of overstep, really just oversteps, has no problem, just usurping the mother and just taking over things, and there's just not much she can do because these are super powered people, and she's just trying to do the best she can protecting her child. And in this, it really shows how sheltered he is, living in this fake community, these fake neighbors, everything like this. And because the place where are there there's nobody else that lives there, right? Or are there other people that live in that?
Yeah, it's pretty much Truman Show that the set of the Truman Show that they're living in. It's like this fake community. Yeah. It's like all the neighbors aren't real. They have no connection to the outside world. And then there's a moment between Becca and Homelander where Homelander explains, the second you bring this kid into the outside world, it's gonna fuck him up. And you should tell him now while you still can. Because I kind of understand where he's coming from, because he is another character that grew up in a very, very insulated environment. He had no contact with the outside world, and he knows how much that fucked him up. And despite Becca having the best intentions, it could still end up creating another Homelander.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of that wasn't her choice. I mean, I think living in that environment wasn't her choice.
But it became her choice, and I think that's kind of what Homelander was getting at.
Do you think? Because I thought they said that she couldn't leave, right?
Well, she couldn't leave, but keeping him there while Homelander exists was her choice. And I understand that choice, very much so.
Right.
But I don't know, I feel like that was one of the few scenes where I actually kind of agreed with Homelander to some extent. You know, the kid does need to be outside. Maybe not with Homelander, but he does need to, you know, grow empathy and see the world for what it is.
Well, I mean, he was obviously learning empathy. He was watching The Blind Side. I mean, you know, he was
you're
obviously,
right.
Pro, he's learning empathy. Con, he's got a really shitty taste in movies.
Well,
you didn't like The Blind Side as a kid?
No, I fucking hated that movie.
Yeah, and it was funny when he's so he does like these little like Lego videos where he recreates the movies using like Legos and everything like that. And he's showing them, and then
and
was
some
like,
great comedy, and Homelander's just, this fucking shit. And then just one look from Stormfront. It's like, wow, Ryan, that's so great.
Yeah. And she says, well, do you do anything that kids actually like to do? You know what I mean?
You know. The best line in the show by far was the Nazi asking a child, do you watch PewDiePie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, oh my God. Yeah, so.
And I've seen a lot of criticism about this episode, in particular to like how quickly Ryan turns on his mom and goes to Homelander. But he's also a kid, and kids do that.
Yeah.
It's like you show them a little attention, you show them a little positive, and you can turn them easy.
Yeah. I mean, that's just child behavior to kind of switch on a dime. And then be swayed right back as soon as your mom gets you ice cream or buys you a new game.
Very much so.
He'll be back.
So, what do you think the implications for this episode are going to lead into not only just the next episode, but the next season? So do you think, like, she's going to get him back in the next episode? Do you think they're going to say that for the next season? We're going to see Ryan being corrupted more in the next season and being turned, and then they have to, like, try to get him back? Like, what do you think is going to be one of the main things from this season that's going to carry over to next season?
I think.
Did you guys see the promo?
Oh, it's like
I saw the promo.
Becca going back to Butcher. That's all I saw with the promo. And I think next season, I think the way to go with this is you have the boys try to rescue Ryan and fail. And the third season is just the battle for this kid's soul. And you can talk a lot about child rearing in today's society. And you can talk about nature versus nurture a lot.
Chase, what do you think?
I like that idea, Nick. And I especially like the scenes that could come out of it. Just like, you know, when Stormfront reveals her true self to Ryan, I wonder what Ryan's reaction is going to be in comparison to his father's reaction. I feel like Ryan's reaction will be a little bit more like, no,
you're a fucking Nazi!
That's not what my mom told me. Black people are human too.
Yeah. So it will be interesting seeing like all the empathy, all the things that she's instilled on him. How much will that come into effect when he's with Homelander and Stormfront? That would be very interesting to see how much that comes into effect.
Some like Ryan will say Black Lives Matter, and Stormfront will be like All Lives Matter. And then Ryan will be like, what?
Really get into that commentary.
But we'll see.
But one of the final things of this episode is, so Dr. Vogelbaum goes to the hearing, which is against Vought, and heads just start exploding. You know what I mean? And the boys are sitting there watching it on TV. And it's all of them sitting around, including Starlight and her mother, and heads just start exploding out of nowhere. So, are we thinking it's the girl with the telekinesis, or
Nah.
we're thinking it's something else completely different, or like what could be causing this?
I'm wondering if it's actually Stormfront, because there's no real hint at what the totality of her powers are, because it's clear when she was Liberty she had like super strength and all that, and as Stormfront she has that plus electricity and flight. So is like some form of telekinesis also in her skill set? Is that what she's doing? Is she like manipulating electrical waves to make people's heads explode? I don't know.
And here's why I say it's definitely not Cindy, because Cindy would have targeted Stormfront.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Meanwhile, whoever did it targeted everybody that Vought needed to get targeted. And Shockwave, but you know, that's just you got to get one of the soups out of here just so they can have like that just so they can clear their backs, and so they can prove that, oh, this wasn't an inside job, it had to be a soup terrorist.
I'm wondering if
I'm
wondering if this was the Church of the Collective. Because the whole how they got A-Train to join is because they said, they're gonna give Shockwave the A-Train suit, and he was like the only soup character that got targeted, and especially because the church is like really connected to Vought, and if Vought goes down, then that's a huge source of income that's gone away from the church. So I'm wondering if they had something to do with it.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a very. I didn't think about that.
I saw another theory saying that Edgar might be behind it, but with that whole Shockwave incident, with him getting included, I can't really see him doing that. So it might actually be the Collective. You might be right, Nick.
Especially because I have a theory that Stan Edgar is Frederick Vought. Because maybe he helped himself to a little Compound V too.
And he could body snatch.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's why Stormfront is really keen on working with him, because, like you said, he's a black guy and she's literally a Nazi.
Yeah, we still haven't had a scene of them together, and I hope that happens in the next episode.
Me too, because me too, especially because of Ryan getting kidnapped by Homelander, and Edgar was the guy who was really trying to keep that kid a secret.
I wonder how that will turn out, because he's definitely gonna have to come right home.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. Definitely want to see done. It's only one more episode, so man, it's a lot of interesting stuff. I want to see them talk about in the next episode in the next season. Yeah, I mean, seeing all these heads explode, seeing all these things, and seeing like they were again so close. Again, the boys, they were just like, okay, finally, this is it. Hey, we're gonna finally out these people, and then boom, just like that, those hopes go away, and Butcher just goes like, you could just see the look on his face, just leaning over like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, really, we can't just get these people. We can't have a break for once. Something always happens. Something always comes up. Just like that. So it's just like, damn.
Some people were comparing that scene to the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones.
I could see that comparison a little, but I didn't have any real personal connection. I didn't have any real connection with any of the people that did get exploded.
Yeah, that's the difference. But you do have a connection with the boys, and to see them emotionally distraught,
and just having that crushing defeat again.
Yeah.
Especially when they were so close.
Yeah. They were really about to catch a big dub right there.
Yeah. I just had a thought, like, me thinking it's not Stormfront, because if it was Stormfront, why didn't she kill the AOC stand-in? Like, when she killed her first?
Well, so here's my theory against that, because Stormfront is a manipulator and she needs an enemy for the base to surround themselves around. So the AOC stand-in is the perfect enemy for her to keep around if she was the head popper.
It's true
That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, with dictators and you have dissenters, the wrong move is to kill them outright because you make that person a martyr.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Could make her a martyr, somebody they could rally the memory of behind.
And then you lose some of that public opinion that was like on the fence of supporting you, because they're like, oh wow, like, you know, this poor lady.
It was funny when that agent lady, the one that's like in charge of them, Sarah's her name, right?
Oh, Ashley.
Agent lady?
Ashley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the one that's like quote unquote like the head of them. She's like, "Your fucking soups, do something! Fucking do something!" It's like, you know, I mean, they're just kind of just standing there, kind of just looking around, like, oh, like just
that was also just interesting to see, like Homelander, because I don't think he had any clue, even if Stormfront was the one doing it. I don't think he had any involvement in setting that plan up.
Yeah, that
because he looked.
Yeah, that is a plan that takes planning and precision and patience, and Homelander is none of those things.
Yeah, and he looked way too surprised. Like, looking at him, I was rewatching that scene a couple, maybe one too many times, and because I was trying to see if anyone in the room was the culprit, but when I was looking at him, it was just like, yo, what is going on? Like, I can't do anything about this. But like, that was probably the most helpless he's ever looked before.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is, maybe it isn't. But I don't know if it was a reference to like Batman v Superman. I don't know if it was a reference to that, maybe. But like, cause
what do you mean?
In the scene, you remember the scene in Batman v Superman where Superman, he goes to like court and there's like the big bomb that goes off and he's just kind of standing around looking at the fire, you know what I mean? Like he's just standing there looking at, like, bro, you're fucking Superman, bro. Can't you can
do something.
You can blow out the fire, bro. You can just use your ice breath, bro. Like, you know, but
I feel like with this is a much more complex threat because it's like, yo, where is this coming from?
Yeah,
you know, there's no like bomb or no fire. It's just people just blowing up at random, as so it seems.
But I mean, yeah, it was. I think it's a pretty good episode, and one of the, I think, best episodes of the season. I think, in
my opinion,
like if not one of the better ones. All right, so moving on from discussing the boys, gonna discuss some news here. Gonna discuss the Kamala Khan casting. Kamala Khan has been now officially cast in the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus show. And she is going to be played by a Muslim American. She's going to be played by Aman Vellani. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Aman Vellani. Who's a newcomer. And I have not read much of Ms. Marvel. I know she is really successful in the comics. To my knowledge, would I be correct in that assessment?
You would be. She was one of the characters that came around during Marvel's reboot phase. This is where you got characters like Miles Morales as Spider-Man, where you got Riri Williams as Ironheart, and Kamala Khan as Ms. Marvel. And Miles and Kamala were like the two breakout hits of that entire run.
Okay. And in the comics, Kamala is a Muslim American crime-fighting high schooler in Jersey City with the ability to shrink or embiggen parts of her bodies. I like that word, embiggen. Like that word, embiggen.
Embiggening.
Embiggen parts of her body. She made her comics debut in 2013, created by writer G. Willow Wilson and artist Adrian Alfana, and editors Stephen Wacker and Sana Amanta. And ever since, she's become a fan favorite, balancing typical teenage problems with the pressure of saving the world. She also was just in the Marvel Avengers game, which I heard was kind of dookie, but
I didn't play it. I had zero interest in playing it.
Yeah, I heard that was a disappointment, which is a shame.
I played the beta.
How'd you like the beta?
It was dookie, but she's a cool looking character. You know what I'm saying? Her powers are interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I was watching some gameplay of it, like to see it. Like, there's a part where she kind of like uses like a super move or something. Like she gets really big and she like stomps on. Like that looked really nice.
Yeah.
I might get it like when it's like $20 or something maybe. I might get it.
You know, if it ever comes on free at PSN, I might pick it.
Oh yeah, that's true. I can just wait for it to come on free on PSN.
It will.
Yeah. So, so yeah, she was very successful. And like they said, like this person, I looking at it right now, doesn't seem she has any acting credits to her name.
No, this is I think her acting debut.
Yeah, so this will be the first thing she's ever been in.
In terms of just like features or
At all.
Yeah,
just period.
TV show. Yeah, at
Period.
all.
At all?
Movies, shows. Yeah, that's
Nothing.
the first thing she'll ever be in. Yeah.
Do you know how she got casted? She was just some random girl and was just like, hey, yo, let me show up to this audition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have casting calls and you can go.
True.
And, just like, hey.
Yeah, you have casting calls where you can audition, and I think for a character like Kamala Khan, I feel like that's the right move, especially with this phase in Marvel, because you can finally get into the legacy characters. You get characters that have grown up with heroes like Iron Man, like Captain America, like Captain Marvel, and you can see firsthand the impact that those heroes have.
I'm just surprised that like she hasn't acted in any short films or anything, or any plays or anything.
She may. I mean, she probably may have has maybe some experience maybe doing those things. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's happens. I mean, child stars, they come, they audition for stuff, and
True.
they come and they get the part and they become, successful. So
Hey, and so far, the MCU hasn't really missed as far as casting goes.
Yeah, they don't miss. Now, when did they say this movie's supposed to come out?
Your guess is as good as mine, dude.
So yeah, that release date, I don't believe it has a release date yet, as of yet.
Do you know what year? Is it?
The year it comes out, I believe they said 2021 or 2022, I believe. But let me make sure for that for a second, to make sure. So
When does
has anybody here read the comics of Ms. Marvel?
No.
I've kind of fallen off of comics, if I'm being honest.
Okay. It's 2021 is supposedly the date it's supposed to be released.
Do you know when Captain Marvel 2 is supposed to come out?
Captain Marvel 2? Let me see here. Let me check it out. 2022, July 8th is the supposed release date for it.
I think to go back to your question of whether or not introducing Miss Marvel is too soon, I would hope that Miss Marvel does come after Captain Marvel 2, just so Captain Marvel has a better familiarity with the audience, because she still is very new, and just to give her more groundwork, because I feel like they did this well with Iron Man, even though people say, oh, Spider-Man is just Iron Man's little side boy now. I feel like they did kind of do that well, in the sense that you had how many movies? Like, you had the trilogy of Iron Man, Avengers, Ultron, and then you see him in Civil War, but you have so much to go off of with Tony Stark, and so much familiarity with Tony Stark, that you can believe that Peter Parker would be just this big fanboy. You know?
Right.
So
it makes sense for the world that they've crafted and created.
Yeah. So I feel like if they can hold the movie off until after Captain Marvel 2 is done, I feel like it'll just make a little bit more sense for Miss Marvel to be inspired by Captain Marvel.
Okay. So the actress, so she's born to Muslim immigrants from Pakistan. So they actually got an actress that actually fits the character background-wise as well. Camille Nanjiani, he tweeted about it. Who's also now an MCU guy himself. He's going to be the Eternal. So you see how fucking jacked he got?
Yeah.
It's like, God damn.
Holy shit. Like, he just totally turned into a totally different looking guy. Like, it's amazing. Like, yeah, he totally turned into like a fucking Chad out of nowhere. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
But he just says, I just saw they cast Miss Marvel and legit got teary-eyed. Congratulations. Your work is going to mean so much to so many people, myself included. I can't wait. So he was very congratulatory of it. Also, now that, you know, she's basically become famous overnight, been cast as Miss Marvel, people start doing some digging. And they found her letterbox. And Letterboxd is a site where you go to where you just rank the films, you know, you rate them, you give reviews of them, all that stuff like that. And she did review Captain Marvel. And she gave it 2 stars. And she said, these stars are not for Brie Larson. I will sacrifice my own life for Brie Larson. She also gave Tenet 3 stars. She said, okay, now explain it like I'm a child. Let's see. She gave Spiderman 4.5 stars. She says this is unironically great. She gave The Kissing Booth 2, which is that Netflix movie. She says she gave it half a star. She gave it just 1.5. She just said I've read better Wattpad stories.
I dig it.
So, from what I do know of Miss Marvel, I feel like this is perfectly casted, except for, you know, the obvious. Giving Captain Marvel a 2.2 stars is probably the least Miss Marvel thing she's done.
It says her favorite films here. She has Iron Man, Portrait Lady on Fire, Daisies, and Persona. Persona. And this Persona, is this 1966 film? I've never heard of this film before. Has anybody ever heard of that film? Persona?
I have not.
Only Persona I know is Persona 5.
Yeah, it's a Swedish psychological drama. So foreign films.
Okay.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, good. Okay.
Miss
Girl
Marvel
out here flexing.
Miss Marvel culture.
Yeah. Daisies. This is another like 1966 film. Let's see. I wonder where this film is from here. It's a what does it say? This film Czechoslovakian film. Pretty nice. Okay. Okay. So she's got some good taste. You know, I've seen Portrait Lady on Fire. That was a pretty good movie. It was alright. Gorgeous movie too. That movie's gorgeous. It's a beautiful looking movie. Did anybody here see that movie?
No. I haven't seen it yet.
No. Oh, it's. I mean, I thought the story was a little bland, but gorgeous. It was a gorgeous looking film. Really, really gorgeous. And the 2 women kissing in the film, it kind of looks kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah. Well, cause like the camera, like it zooms in on them kissing a lot, and it's like some Cruel Intention shit where you see like the spit strings from when they kiss. It's like, ugh, yeah, it looks kind of nasty.
That's rough.
Yeah, but it was still a solid film. So I'm, you know, I want to see what she can do. I mean, there's no baggage on her since nobody knows what she's capable of. So there's really not any baggage she comes in with. Expectations are going to be high because it's a Disney Plus show, and they're trying to roll out a lot of these. You know, so yeah, I'm excited for it.
Do you know
any final?
Oh,
Yeah.
before we give our final thoughts, do you guys know any like rumored villains, or do you know any like know any premises or storylines that include Miss Marvel? I don't.
Neither do I.
Yeah,
Wow.
I do not either. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Well,
Yeah.
it'll be a fresh experience for all of us then, I guess, you know. And for pretty much anybody that hasn't
definitely.
read a comic book but has seen her face, because I've seen her face in fan art, and I've seen at least like a picture of the comics multiple times. So that's about it. And the video game.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, she's rising in popularity a lot. Like now that she's on the video game, she burst, really getting super popular in the comics. Now she's getting on a TV show. And then her Miles Morales. I mean, it's kind of same thing. Spider-Verse was huge. Now he's video game. But I mean, Miles Morales, only a matter of time before they pretty much bring him into the MCU. Only a matter of time before they do that, which goes into our next story, discussing Jamie Foxx, who is coming back as Electro, which when everybody read this news, everybody just went a collective, but why though? Because Electro, he played that character in, it was the Amazing Spider-Man, was it 2,
Yeah.
right? Oh, yeah,
It was.
2. Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I really do not like those movies. Do not like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2. I think they're even weaker than Spider-Man 3. And I thought Andrew Garfield was not that good of a Spider-Man, and I thought the villains of it were terrible. A lot of overly CGI that really looked really awful as well. From like in the first film, Croc, who was played by who was that actor's name?
Reese Ifans was the lizard in that movie.
Reese Ifans, and yeah, that looked really awful. And in the second one, where it was Green Goblin played by Dane DeHaan, where he just looked like basically like a crackhead vampire, that didn't really work out either. But in this one, they say Jamie Foxx is coming back. So it says, this is via The Hollywood Reporter. They say Jamie Foxx, who played classic Spider-Man, Spidey villain Electro in the Andrew Garfield starring The Amazing Spider-Man 2, is in final talks to reprise his role in the latest Spider-Man installment starring Tom Holland and being made by Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. So with this news, in the next installment, the third installment coming, from the Spider-Man film is supposedly supposed to be coming out December 17th, 2021. Which you never know. Things could shift, obviously, because of current events. So what do you all think with this news coming out? What do you think it means for the larger implications? Do you think it hints at this basically confirms they're doing a multiverse? Or... I mean, they're going to basically bring in Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, bring in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, this on news on top of like already Doctor Strange and the Multitude of Madness, what they're doing with the WandaVision show. Do you basically think that's just the new direction they're taking this MCU?
I really don't. I feel like it's too early. I think what this casting is kind of just like with the J. Jonah Jameson casting, as it's just, him reprising a role in a different universe. At least that's what I hope. Because I feel like Peter Parker's story, I don't want Peter Parker's story right now to get diluted by the multiverse. I want him to have his trilogy and finish that up before we even jump into the Spideyverse. And I also don't know how I feel about Andrew Garfield reprising his role as Spider-Man as much as I would like Tobey to.
Nick, what do you think?
I hope this is a J. Jonah Jameson situation where they take Jamie Foxx, who had nothing to work with in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and was just told to overact. He was given a shitty script. He was given shitty effects to work with. And I hope that this is them correcting, hey, Jamie Foxx is a terrific actor, and with the right material, he can be a great Electro. But also, why the fuck are you bringing in Electro? It's like one of the lamer Spider-Man villains. Especially because so much is set up by the end of Far From Home, and you can have Kraven the Hunter, you can have Spidey on the run. You can do so much. Why are they just going back to the worst Spider-Man movies?
And that's also one thing that I'm kind of disappointed by, is that early on during the initial production of Homecoming, the writer and director, he often would say, I want to bring in Spider-Man villains that have not been on the screen before. I want to give them light. He has a whole gallery of villains, and we're bringing back Electro, who, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily fit the context of that Far From Home setup, which is Peter Parker is now known and can be hunted at any moment. I felt like Kraven was the perfect and only villain to cast for the third movie. But we'll see. I just hope they're not doing Sinister 6 too early. That's my biggest fear.
Because that was pretty much where they messed up with the Amazing Spider-Man movie. They were trying to build their own Spider universe, and the second one they even had a scene where a character goes down and looks at this basement or whatever, has all these Scorpion suit and Electro suit. A Scorpion suit and all these various suits that's supposed to hint at the Sinister Six and everything like that. And it's they were trying to do way too much, way too soon, and basically just fell on their faces, which is why they had to come hands and knees back to Marvel, and basically agree to that deal for the share of the character. Like you said, with the J. Jonah Jameson character, J.K. Simmons coming back to play him, that was a fan favorite character from the Raimi. Yeah,
that was a beloved character, and that was one of the greatest comic castings ever. And to bring J. Jonah Jameson in and not have J.K. Simmons play it'd be like if they, for Iron Man 2, they cast someone else as Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a fan favorite character that you could see why they brought him back. It made perfect sense. He played that role so perfectly. But Jamie Foxx as Electro, I don't know, I haven't ran into anybody that says, man, damn, Jamie Foxx was so great as Electro.
Literally nobody says that.
I haven't heard I haven't heard that ever. So maybe there are some people out there. I've never heard that ever, saying hey, Jamie Foxx was knocked it out of the park. I'd love to see him come back. Never heard that. His character wasn't even all that good of a character. Him being this guy that was super obsessed with Spider-Man and loved Spider-Man, and ever since he saved his life, he just had this obsession with him. So yeah, I don't really see the reason behind really doing this unless you're maybe gonna include some multiverse stuff. Maybe it's gonna work out in some way like that. So it was very strange news that just came out about this. It was very, very strange news.
I really don't want the multiverse in the third movie. I really don't. They set up such a good premise for the third movie by exposing who Spider-Man is. I hope that they make that movie, and then you could save the multiverse stuff for 4 or Spider-Man 5 or whatever you want.
Yeah, something like that. Or now that Nick mentioned, trying to do now that he's on the run, doing the whole Kraven's Last Hunt storyline.
Yes.
And then I saw a casting, somebody on social media said it, and I was like, oh duh, this makes perfect sense. Why didn't I think of this? It was casting Carl Urban as Kraven the Hunter.
Yo,
bruh,
that makes perfect sense.
Yo,
you know what I mean? That makes perfect
I would be
sense.
All in.
I was thinking Jason Momoa, but Carl Urban, that would be perfect. That is insane.
I was like, yeah, that's so obvious. Yeah.
And then the movie would be Spider-Man Run From Home.
And you gotta keep the home theme.
Yeah.
You gotta have that in there somewhere. Gotta keep that home theme.
Dude, that'd be sick.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to see that. Yeah, definitely Carlman if he comes in as Craven and them do that whole storyline. But we'll definitely see. Definitely see how Jamie Foxx is incorporated and what they do. All right, so moving on from discussing Jamie Foxx as Electro, we're going to discuss some more Spider-Man news. I'm going to discuss this PS5 remastered of Spider-Man. Did you guys all check this out?
I saw the face.
So you didn't see like the side-by-side comparison they
I saw
did?
that Tom Holland deepfake.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I really needed to see. I did notice, like, I did see in one shot, side by side, that the sky is a little bit blue in one shot than it is in other one where it's all blown out white. I do like that, but I don't know, man. It's not really changing much for me. I'm not probably going to pick it up on my PS5 until it comes out for free. PSN monthly.
All right.
I'm chilling.
So do you think it's just a complete overreaction by people going like, wow, this looks just because some people are saying like he looks so young, like he looks basically like 16. Like, do you see that at all?
A little bit.
I don't think he looks.
A little bit. I think.
How old is Spider-Man?
I think in the game he's supposed to be 23.
I think he could still pass as 23.
That'd be kind of stretching it, but you also have to think, hey, Miles Morales is also in this game, and the old model for Miles now looks older than Peter Parker.
Well, as somebody with a baby face that is 23, I could vouch for him.
You can vouch for him.
Yeah.
Baby face niggas stick together.
Oh yeah.
So you think it's them trying to make it look like basically like Tom Holland?
Yes,
So-
that's what it
trying to-
feels like.
What Insomniac said was that the reason that they did the change was to fit the voice actors' facial structure better. Apparently that's supposed to help you convey emotions better. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see whether or not those emotions are better conveyed. But I don't know. I feel like it was just like, it was a slow day at the time. So when that popped up, they were like, all right, let's just roast the shit out of this. That's how the internet does.
I'm looking at the voice actor right now who voiced Spider-Man in the game. The face does not look all that similar to his face.
So he actually even did a whole breakdown himself where he was like, this cheekbone is my cheekbone, that cheekbone is his.
Really?
Yeah, so he swears that that's what they were doing. So,
Well,
and
maybe
he even apologized.
Maybe
which I thought was funny too. I don't know.
maybe I guess maybe 20 years younger. Maybe if you did like, cause he's maybe older. Maybe if like 20 something years before. Like maybe did he put up like a throwback picture?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know the process. It doesn't really make that much sense to me. Because
Yeah.
like with video games, they get voice actors that obviously aren't the facial models for the game all the time, and
Yeah.
the facial models do a great job of conveying that said emotion, in my opinion, most of the time. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, people kind of freaking out, even though that means they're gonna buy it again anyway.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna buy the shit anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. So the graphical comparisons, Nick, how much did you see a lot of the graphical comparisons between PS4, PS5 when they did the whole trailer, the side by side comparisons?
I saw a little bit of it. The motion looks a little smoother. The colors definitely pop more. But the whole thing with them saying that, okay, you get a little more emotion out of the the performance of Peter Parker, I didn't really see that.
You think it looks stiff?
I think it
rigid,
looks
or?
stiff as it is right now. I don't know if they still have work to do on it.
Okay. So do you think like the remastered is like if you never played the PS4 version, or you did, do you see like something that'd be like necessary for people to kind of go like see like there's that much of a difference?
I honestly don't think so.
Or...
I think the PS4 version, it's one of the most beautiful looking games ever. So I don't really know what more you can do with a remaster of that.
Yeah.
Maybe fix a lot of the bugs.
Maybe.
You know, maybe. Because like I remember having the game and it was pretty buggy at times. I mean, there's even stuff like online you can look at where they show like a lot of the bugs of the game, which are actually pretty funny actually. So maybe they could fix something like that. I've already played it on PS4, so I don't really. I wouldn't get it remastered for PS5 especially since they're doing backwards compatibility anyway.
Yeah, so doing a remaster
with
kind of
PS4.
feels irrelevant if the game's already backwards compatible.
Yeah, so it kind of seems kind of pointless, I guess. I mean, I guess if you are just getting a PS5 and maybe you didn't have a PS4, that's great for you that they're doing that. But yeah, for someone who's already played it, I don't really see the need for me to really get it. As far as the graphical comparisons, I mean, some textures look a little bit better, colors look a little bit better, things look a little bit smoother. He does look very young as compared to how he looked in the PS4, the original PS4 version. He does look very, very young, even somewhat younger than Miles Morales. Black Cat was definitely doing some grooming here.
Wow.
Drake would be proud.
That's kind of what it looks like. But so I mean, like, it's whatever. I think in some aspects it looks like a better character model, just in terms of like the way they did the hair, the way the skin is. I think it just looks like a little bit of a better character model than the PS4 version. Because in some aspects, I think Peter Parker's face in PS4 reminded me just a little bit of like the Marvel's Avengers character models like they had in the game, of how kind of like you had kind of like these a little bit off budget looking people play Captain America or Black Widow or Bruce Banner. But I don't think it looked as bad as that. It just reminded me
exactly. We're already used to different actors playing Spider-Man, so having a new look for him isn't really as jarring as it is for the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that has something to do with it as well. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's just whatever. I mean, that's kind of how I looked at it. I mean, the memes are funny though. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm always here for good memes. Like one of my favorite one was one they did with Aunt May. Well, spoiler for if you've never played Marvel Spider-Man, spoiler.
The game's almost 2 years old.
But
I think we're past the statute of limitations for spoilers.
yeah. And so Aunt May, she's dying, and then she asks him to take off his mask. But then in the meme, he takes off his mask. It's this new version of Peter Parker, and she goes, "Who the fuck are you?" Yeah. So, I mean, so I'm always here for that. I think those are pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of whatever. I mean, it's kind of like whatever. All right. So moving on from discussing the PS5 remastered Spider-Man, do you want to discuss Borat 2 trailer? Do you all want to discuss that? I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, really not much to say. All that much, I don't think. This is coming out right before the election, if I'm correct. Because I think it's supposed to cost October 23rd. It's coming out, and it's being distributed by Amazon. You guys want to review it? Probably review it, right? October 23rd, coming out on Amazon.
I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah, sure. All right.
I still haven't seen the first one, so I don't know anything about this, and I don't really have many expectations about it.
The first one, the first one's, I guess you can consider it a classic, I guess. When the first one came out, there was a lot of motherfuckers running around doing all the catchphrases from the movie.
Ugh.
Like the "my wife" thing, and there was a lot of people doing that. It was like Dave Chappelle when he did like "I'm Rick James, bitch," or like a lot of people just wore that shit out fast. It was like, god damn.
But to be fair, Rick James, "I'm Rick James, bitch" is still funny.
Yeah, very true.
But like when it was like the height, the popularity, and everybody was doing it, that shit wore out fast.
I mean, all right. Here's my experience with Borat. I feel like I watched it vicariously, and I'm not that interested because of the memes. I didn't really like any of the memes that came out of it. But I'll watch it for the show though.
Yeah, I'll check it out for the show. Review it, October 23rd.
We've seen worse movies for the show.
Yeah, very also true.
And I think October 23rd is also when On the Rocks is coming out as well. That Bill Murray, Rashida Jones movie. That's when it's coming to Apple TV.
Okay. I was so confused this morning because I was like looking for it all over, and I was just like, I can't seem to find an alleged link.
Because I thought it was, because I thought it was coming out today, but it's coming out. It's limited release in theaters, so I thought it was going to come on Apple TV today.
Okay.
But it was coming out in limited theaters. So it's coming on Apple TV October 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I could have got Apple TV because they were doing a whole promotion, with if you had like an Apple device that was new, you could get like 3 months free of Apple TV. And I just never signed up because I was just like, when the hell am I ever gonna watch Apple TV? Like, when the hell am I ever gonna do that?
Yeah.
So I just never did.
When the hell are you gonna ever watch Apple TV?
Yeah, it's like, Apple. I already got an iPhone. I already got a MacBook. I already got an Apple Watch. Do I really need your streaming service too?
Yeah.
Do I really need that?
Because like, what else do they really have? It's On the Rocks. You can watch that on repeat.
I hear they have like good TV shows on there. For instance, like there's the TV show with Steve Carell and Reese Witherspoon. Like Steve Carell gets kind of like he gets Me Too'd in like this show. Like it's about like news anchors and stuff like that. And Steve Carell in the show gets accused of sexual harassment. And I think it got nominated for Emmys too. I think it got nominated for the Emmys. So I hear there's some good shows on there every now and then. I hear, so they're putting out content. And there was a movie that came out with Anthony Mackie and Samuel Jackson that was about these it was based on a true story. It's about these two black bankers. And it starred also Nicholas Hoult, who was also in it. And these guys trying to go and buy property, like get a loan from the bank and buy property or something to that effect. Exactly. That also premiered on Apple TV. So they're doing like movies and TV shows and things like that. It's just that I already got enough streaming services.
Yeah.
Like I got Amazon, I got Hulu, I got Netflix, I got Disney Plus. I got a lot of streaming services, man. Like I don't need a whole other one.
Yeah, true.
So, I've reached my cap. I'm done.
Plus, like all these other actual cable networks are trying to do their own streaming services where you have to pay for them. NBC and HBO. Well, HBO already had their whole thing going on, so that's understandable. But it's just oversaturated at this point.
Yeah, they got like 3 different ones. They got like HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO Max.
Yeah.
And like, God, how many streaming services can you have? Jesus Christ.
Just
like next is gonna be HBO Ultra.
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like they're like super Saiyans. There's just a different unnecessary form after the next one. This isn't even my final form.
So, I'm just I have a lot of those. But so yeah, we'll check off that, review on the rocks there. And next show, Nick brought up doing some countdown of our favorite Halloween movies right now.
Yeah, just talking about like some of our favorite Halloween, favorite horror movies to watch during spooky season.
Yeah, spooky season has begun. You think people are gonna be trick or treating a lot or no?
I hope not.
You're not opening your door, huh?
I'm not.
Shit, numbers in Japan are going down. I'm trying to if I can.
The lucky man.
You do. Yeah, Nick does some good cosplay. If Nick does really good cosplay. I'll say that.
You can follow him at Night and Day Nick.
Yes, thank you for the totally not planned plug.
We did not actually discuss this before. Joe.
Nick, do you ever enter into any competitions doing the cosplay or anything like that?
Me, no. I don't really make any of my cosplays. I more get them from different sources, so it kind of feels like cheating if I enter into a contest at actual cons.
Okay.
If it's just like Halloween, then yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Do you get a lot of compliments?
Yeah, a lot of compliments, a lot of people asking for pictures. When I went to Comic-Con last year as Robin, I was single at the time, so that was fun.
Oh,
I can imagine.
If only I spoke better Japanese.
Yeah.
Do you ever try to hit on the booth babes at all there? Or no.
No, you don't. No, you don't hit on the booth babes there. You hit on the other people at the con, and you don't hit on them. You just hey, what's up? Just start conversation. Don't be creepy.
Because I know you hear so many stories about booth babies go through that and having to deal with that and everything like that. So I know that's a big issue for them.
Plus, if
guys, be better. Just be better.
But well, I was gonna say the go-to play is do a cosplay and see a chick that you're attracted to that has a character from that same story. You could, you could be like, hey, you trying to take a photo? We could, exchange Instagrams. You could do it the smooth way, being like, hey, our characters are canonically together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I've never been to a convention myself.
Conventions are
other
are
than
a lot
that,
of fun.
guys, if you don't have game,
Don't do it.
they're a lot of fun, but don't go in there looking for a girlfriend. That's the main.
Yeah, just go out there, look and have
Go there
fun.
to have fun.
If it happens, great. If it doesn't, quit sulking and move on.
Yeah, and spend money on the art and merchandise.
Yeah, support your local artists.
Relieve your pain. Yeah.
Very good messages. All right, so let's get out of here, people.
We didn't even talk about our favorite horror movie.
I said that we're gonna do that next week.
Oh, okay. My bad. I misheard you.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it next week. Yeah. All right, so let's get out of here. to all you people out there listening to this, I hope you had a good time listening to this. You know what to do. You know what to do. Check us out. All the social medias. Twitter, Afternoon Tune, Facebook, The Afternoon Tune. If you want to check it, you can give us an email. Ask a question, theafternoontune@gmail.com. Chase, where they can find you?
You can find me at Mr. Chase Mac. That's spelled Mr. M-R Chase CHAYSE, and then Mac like Bernie Mac MAC. At Instagram and Twitter. How about you, Nick?
I think you already plugged my Instagram and my Twitter at Night and Day Nick. Yeah. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right. Yeah, and people, good people, always good to comment. Let us know what we did right. Let us know what we did wrong. Constructive criticism. Always subscribe, like, show that support, help us build us up, share us. You already know all that good stuff to do. And to all you people listening to this, I hope you all stay tuned.